2026. And if you don't know or haven't heard, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. And on this amazing birthday, I come to celebrate Black American leaders. And here at Perfect Publishing, we have created an opportunity for you to learn and for many of us to share about amazing Black leaders that we have encountered over the years. It could be someone from the 1800s. It could be someone from 2010, but this is Black Hour of Power, bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge. And we are here to celebrate every single day in the month of February. We are going to celebrate Black leaders, how they have influenced, impacted, and encouraged us as human beings, as people, as American citizens. You may or may not be aware of the contribution that many Black Americans have had to this country. But this month, February 2026, we are going to give you the opportunity to learn more about your country's history. And so I am going to start, and I'm going to invite several other people to join with me. And let me just say, if you want to be a part of this amazing celebration, I'm going to drop the link, and you can still sign up and be a part and join the conversation. Share about a person that you are inspired by, someone who has made an impact in this country's history, someone that we can learn more about. And once you share about them, that we can go and research them and learn even more. Someone that has made a difference and has changed and influenced your life. And so I want to start by introducing you to Miss Toni Morrison. And she was born Chloe Ardelia Wolford. And then she changed her name to Anthony, and the nickname Toni stuck once she became a Catholic. And so she was born actually in my home state of Ohio, February the 18th, 1931, in Lorain, Ohio. She departed from this life August 5th, 2019. And she was an author, an amazing writer, lecturer, and impactful editor for many years. She initially graduated from the Harvard University in 1953, received a master's degree from Cornell University in 1955, and then started her very illustrious career of a collegiate professor and an editor. And so she started at Texas A&M, and she went on to the New York University of New York. And she was an editor, a senior editor at Random House for over 18 years, beginning in 1965. And what you need to know about Miss Toni Morrison is that it was unheard of for a Black woman to be a part of the editing process at Random House. So what I love about her is that she kicked down doors throughout her entire life. She was a prolific author. She was awarded for her writing at a time when Black women were not being looked at in an academic way. And so Toni Morrison began writing in the 1970s with the books The Bluest Eye, Sula, and Song of Solomon. Now, Song of Solomon is the book that began her awarded written literary life. And so she was awarded the National Book Critics Circle Award and the American Academy of Institute of Arts and Letters Award for the Song of Solomon. In the 80s, when she left Random House and began to teach at University of New York, she published the book that most people know her for, which is Beloved. And Beloved is where she earned the Pulitzer Prize in 1988. And to be a part of the editing process at Random House. So, what I love about her is that she kicked down doors throughout her entire life. She was a prolific author. She was awarded for her writing at a time when Black women were not being looked at in an academic way. And so Toni Morrison began writing in the 1970s with the books The Bluest Eye, Sula, and Song of Solomon. Now, Song of Solomon is the book that began her awarded written a literary life. And so she was awarded the National Book Critics Circle Award and the American Academy of Institute of Arts and Letters Award for the Song of Solomon. In the 80s, when she left Random House and began to teach at University of New York, she published the book that most people know her for, which is Beloved. And Beloved is where she earned the Pulitzer Prize in 1988. In 1993, Toni Morrison was the first Black woman to ever receive the Nobel Prize for Literature. And so she received numerous other awards, accolades, international recognition because of her stories. And the types of stories that she wrote were stories that people of color could relate to. It had to do with the timing. It had to do with the people who she was connected to. It had to do with even the fact of things that she endured, things that she endured. And so it's very important that she is able to, that she was able to make such an impact in life and in the literary scene. And so for me, Toni Morrison was an author that was very prominent in my upbringing. And so I was introduced to her by one of my classmates. But I was intrigued by Toni Morrison because she was able to tell stories that could be challenging for many people and could be a little unappealing in certain ways. And it came against the status quo. And she was a woman who did not fit the national beauty standards, and yet she had to be listened to. She had to be heard because her words were beyond her own appearance, her own body. They were forever etched in the earth because of her books. Her words went places that initially she might not have been allowed to go, but because of her words opened the door for her presence, for her actual presence to be invited to places, to talk shows, to highly acclaimed universities such as Harvard University, where she was a regular lecturer, and to come into really a high place when it comes to being known, being appreciated, and being valued. And so even until the end of her life, she was still writing, she was still teaching, and she was still lecturing about a plethora of subjects, not just writing, but also political things, and also how we as African Americans and women show up in a variety of places. So thank you for hearing about this woman who has truly impacted me, Toni Morrison. And now I would like to bring to the stage a dear friend and sister, Miss Roz Knighton Warfield. Okay. And Dr. Roz, or Dr. Smile, as she is known, is a person who is ready to provide an acronym or a word to share with you to encourage and to uplift you. And she is one who is supportive, and she is one who enjoys words and the word. And so, Roz, share with us today about your historical figure.
Well, well, well. First of all, you're loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. And I believe giving flowers while a person is still here. And because her skin is a melanin, a beautiful chocolate caramel, I'm going to share the life of Minister Tanisha Carroll because she has been an influential, great empowerment for me. Even though I call her little sister, I call her little big sister because she has a lot of wisdom. And because February 1st is her birthday, my gosh, the Holy Spirit, the power team of three, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and Dr. Smile said, what a joy this would be. Because Tanisha, with her writings, with her shares, with her administrative organization, she is a legacy and will go down in history. Happy birthday, Minister Carol. I know that this is a surprise, but guess what? Flowers should be given while we are living. Chosen to rise, bold leader of authority, courage, and knowledge. Today, I honor a woman who teaches, trains, mentors, and builds people, especially those who are unsure of what God has called them to do. She doesn't just inspire, she equips. She doesn't just encourage, she activates purpose. One thing I love about my dear friend is if you ask her a question and she does not know, she'll say, I don't know about that, child. And we'll go look it up together. And that's what I like about honor and excellence, because we know and we all know that we have dealt with individuals who will just fabricate something when they don't know the whole information. Minister Tanisha is a daughter, a wife, a mother, coach, author, worship leader, and publisher. And you heard me say earlier, an administrative coordinator. She has come into many, many venues and been able to just with her quiet spirit to assist and put things in order. She is a vessel trusted with helping others discern their assignment in every season. And if it's not the assignment, it's the plan of action, just as she has become, because I shared with her, being able to be a part of Perfect Publishing. She has been a mighty blessing to Dr. Smiley, myself, and others with her administrative, I want to say kingdom administrative authority. So guess what? Bold leaders of authority, courageous with knowledge. What can you say? This is all about her. She speaks to the question to so many, what am I supposed to be doing in the season of my life? And when you visit her website, you will be able to see Chosen to Rise. And she is talking about assignments. I believe that our purpose is here to be before the Father. I believe our calling was Jesus calling us. But what do you know about your assignment? Your assignment can be taught, by the many downloads that God has given Minister Tanisha. Her life and message remind us that God knows the answer before the question is even asked. And when the flesh wants to quit, she teaches how to stay true to the assignment and finish well. My assignment may change, but my purpose is the same, to bring people out. And that is a quote, that is not a quote, it's a calling. When I think about Black in her honor, bold leaders of authority, courageous and knowledge. B is builder of people, discovering God's call. L is led by kingdom authority and not confusion. A is anointed to bring clarity in difficult season. C is courageous in truth, worship, and obedience. And K is knowledge filled, helping others hear God clearly. This is definitely an opportunity for you. You want to stay connected to Minister Tanisha. And what more for her to share the story of Toni Morrison, a Black woman who led when it comes to read and lead and lead and read. You know, I understand being able to get a good book and read, but can you get information that will be able to help you do the trajectory of whatever dream, vision, goal that you may have? Always be willing to learn more about yourself and God's plan for your life. Increase confidence without striving, and prove your ability to hear God's voice. As I mentioned, you want to follow Minister Tanisha Carroll, because she will be able to help you to understand and pull out your assignment, because many and others are waiting for your assignment to be able to help them to do this kingdom business. So, Father God, I just want to do a prayer for my dear friend for her birthday. Father God, I thank you for Minister Tanisha, your chosen daughter and faithful servant. Strengthen her for this new year, 2026. Expand her influence and guard her heart as she builds others. Let her continue to rise with grace, lead with authority, and bring people out with wisdom and love. Bless her family, her ministry, and every seed she sows in Jesus' mighty name. So, Minister Carol, I just wanted to let you know how much I love you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I am absolutely flabbergasted. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I truly do. Thank you. I don't know what to say. I'm rarely without words. Thank you, Dr. Roz. We appreciate you. Um, okay. So I would like to invite our next guest. We thank Dr. Roz for being with us today. And I would like to invite our next guest, Miss Vivian Carroll, to join. Vivian is a educator, a musician, a mother, a grandmother, and a person of wisdom and knowledge and authority. And we thank God for her. And we encourage you to just listen as she shares about her historical figure.
Good afternoon. Let me say first, happy birthday to my daughter in love, Tanisha. Happy birthday. I pray God's richest blessings over your life and over the works of your hands. It is truly a special day. I am here to honor someone that's very special to me. It is personal that I was asked to be a part of this, and I am truly, truly very thankful for the visionary of this platform and this opportunity. So I truly do say thank you. But I'd like to talk about the courage of a man, my uncle Nathaniel Hawthorne Jones. We called him Uncle Nate. We called him Uncle Nate. I want to talk about a civil rights story that doesn't always make it into history books. Not because it was small, but because it was local, it was persistent and deeply rooted in family and community. I grew up in a small community, the same community where my uncle Nate served the community in the church and in the community. Uncle Nate was a giant. He was a giant in my life. Um, Unbeknownst to a lot of people, the boots on the ground and the civil rights movement was fought in small communities in the South. And that was the way it was in Claiborne County, Mississippi. The atmosphere was absolutely charged and electrifying. As a child growing up during that period, um, you didn't know actually what was going on. I was in my somewhere around 11 years old during that time that the civil rights movement was fought. Uh, Bigger than life people were present in our community, this small town that there are only still today 2 traffic lights, people going about their regular day by day business. And many of the people that I look like, many of the people that had the same color that I had, were working for doing day work. They were working in homes, taking care of other people's children. It was an amazing time to live through. Also, a large part of the civil rights movement was not only fought in small communities, but it involved the children. The children had a part in this in marches and protests. I'm talking about my Uncle Nate. As a young man, he went off to war. He fought in World War II. He was drafted into the United States Navy. He fought for freedom abroad. And it was, I'm sure, a shock to him to be away in other countries and fighting and having a level of recognition to come back to the same things that he grew up with in the South. Grew up as a sharecropper. It was truly a different world from where he came from to where he served in war. When he returned to Claiborne County, he was determined to exercise the rights he had fought for overseas. Now, for years, Uncle Nate attempted to register to vote, and voting was not something that Black people were afforded at that particular time. There were so many restrictions applied that were not normal. It was difficult. He led registration campaigns and being an example of what you had to go through, being tested to be able to vote, making sure that he paid his registration taxes. Anything, any least little thing was a strike against you. But he held the standard. And eventually, after 4 attempts at taking the test, failing 3 times, he passed and was a registered voter in Claiborne County in the 1960s when all of this was taking and all of this was taking place. He also joined the NAACP. But the fight did not just stop, didn't just end there. There were other struggles about employment and rights and dignity for African Americans during that time. He was also a leader in the boycott of the white establishments, the stores where you had to go and buy your groceries and the things that you need to take care of your family. Now, during that time in that area, you had to drive 30, 40 miles in order to get to a decent store to purchase the things that you needed. There were small stores in the community, but they didn't have a lot. So those stores also they refused to hire blacks to work. They wouldn't hire blacks, but we had to go there and purchase from them. And it was a time of boycotting. So a boycott was organized against those establishments that would not hire African Americans to work, even though we shopped in those stores. A part of what my uncle also helped to establish in that community was the first Black owned grocery store in that community. It brought dignity and pride to people that were serving serving others. Here we are. We have our relatives, we have our neighbors, and they're owning this store. And it was truly a community effort. And again, it provided great pride for us that we could shop. You've heard behind every great man there is a great woman. Well, my uncle's wife, my aunt Julia, and I call him my uncle. He was married into the family. He married my aunt Julia, and she became the first the first African American circuit court clerk in Claiborne County. We looked up to them. They held positions of distinction in the community and definitely in my family. And it is my honor and privilege to just speak about my Uncle Nate and all that he meant to so many people. My Uncle Nate died at around 104 years old, and his mind was as sharp then as it was when he was a young man. He could tell you stories, and he knew you. He knew you, and he could tell you stories about him growing up and his relationship with you, even in his latter years. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about my Uncle Nate and his contribution to the civil rights movement fought in Claiborne County, Mississippi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us about Nathaniel Hawthorne Jones. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. And last but not least, we are going to bring to the stage another wonderful person. Her name is Patria Brumfield, and we are grateful to have her today. She is a minister of the gospel. She is a woman of faith. She is an entrepreneur. She is an author, and she is a songwriter and singer, a recording artist. She is all things creative, dancer. You done hit every block almost. And so we invite you to share of your historical figure. Welcome, Patria.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. It is so good to be here. I am honored, and I do want to acknowledge you. Happy birthday. I echo the words of so many people that have gone before me. Happy birthday. I wish you blessings. My good friend, I wish you blessings in this year. The blessings of the Lord that makes rich and adds no sorrow to them. So the historical figure that I have chosen to share is Maya Angelou. She was an iconic American poet and civil rights activist born as Margaret Ann Johnson in St. Louis, Missouri. She spent much of her youth in Stamps, Arkansas with her grandmother, and where they endured racism and trauma. With her trauma that included sexual assault, which led to a period of mutism. She became a mother at 16. She worked various jobs, including a streetcar conductor, before finding her voice as a writer and a performer. We know her, most of us know her by her groundbreaking first autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, in 1969, which brought her international acclaim, detailing her life at 17. And after that, she published 6 more, completing a 7-volume series. We know also that she published a lot of poetry. She published numerous poetry collections, including Still I Rise, right? Phenomenal Woman. We know all of those. Some of us do. And she became famous for reciting on the Post of the Morning at President Bill Clinton's 1993 inauguration. She is a multi-talented artist, dancer, composer, playwright, director, known for roles for Roots and writing screenplays such as Georgia, Georgia, the first screenplay, by the way, that was produced by a Black woman to ever make it into film. Maya Angelou was deeply involved in the civil rights movement, working with leaders like Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., helping coordinate the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, known as SCLC. She is known for leaving her legacy and celebrated as an influential voice of justice and human dignity in American culture, which gave language to these experiences that in voices that have long been silenced. Through her poetry and through her memoirs and through public presence, she articulated pain, resilience, dignity of Black life, and especially, which is my favorite, Black womanhood. Or womanhood, I said womanhood in a way that both deeply, that was deeply and personally given to us to vocalize why and why we matter. Her work challenged culture narratives about racism, identity, and power, at a time where most voices were excluded from the mainstream and the mainstream platforms. Maya Angelou stood boldly, speaking truth with grace and with conviction. She wrote about trauma without being consumed by it. Oh, goodness. And she wrote about oppression without surrendering hope. And in doing so, she reshaped America and talked about the way reshaped America by talking about these things, talking about suffering, talking about survival survival and talking about self-worth. Beyond the literature, beyond her influence, beyond the literature, her influence reached education. And we said civil rights, politics, and popular culture. She was not just a poet. I want you to get that. She was not just a poet. She was not just a performer, but she was a teacher, reminding generations that our stories matter, that our voice carries power, and that our lives had meaning. Her words continue to be quoted to this day, studied and lived because they spoke courage. They spoke of an unshakable belief that we rise by knowing who we are and that we mattered. Okay. And it is sentimented and echoed in her poem, Still I Rise, a declaration of resilience and dignity in the face of historic oppression and personal adversity. This repetition and confidence and bold imagery, Maya Angelou confronted these things, sexism and inherent trauma, while affirming joy and pride and self-value and self-worth. The poem reframes survival as victory and rising as an act of power, making it one of the most enduring anthems in self-affirmation in American culture. Maya Angelou did not just reflect culture, she shaped it. She gave us permission to speak and to remember to rise. Her impact on my life is because as I was introduced, one of the things that I do, I create and I speak and I empower. And so she gave me language for strength I did not know how to name myself. Through her words, I learned that resilience doesn't always have to be a quiet act or apologetic. It can be that causes others and myself to stand tall, to speak boldly, and to still be one of grace and gentleness. Her voice reminds me that my story matters, that my voice carry weight, and rising through challenges are always possible. She inspired me to use this voice, not just for myself, but that I'm able to uplift and affirm and empower women and others who still may be finding their courage to speak. Her legacy reminds me that one voice rising creates a space for many more voices too as well. So that is the person that I chose to speak about and to share with you all on today during this month.
Thank you, Patria. So powerful. I want to just invite everyone to come back on. Thank you, ladies, for being such a wonderful start to February, where we are going to celebrate so many different leaders. Tell me what you might have learned from somewhere else, and I'm going to just jump in and start because I really appreciate. First of all, we cannot skip over Roz just kicking me from the back, like, "Oh, I'm going to talk about Tanisha," and I was like, "What's she about to say about me?" And that is indicative of our relationship. But just I appreciate you, and I appreciate the honor that you have sown into me to encourage me in this season, this hour. So I really appreciate being a part of this. And the wonderful thing about when you hear someone speak about you, it reminds you of who you are. It reminds you of what you have said about you, and also reminds you of what you have said that you were going to be and to do. And so it encourages us to not forget, to not be lax or to be slow in what we have said that we're going to do and accomplish. So I appreciate that rejuvenation. We're gonna say that. I appreciate that. And I when Patria said she was gonna do my Angelou, she was on my list too. And so I really, because that I feel like in those times when we were reading in the 80s and the 90s, when we was really deep into the Maya Angelou's, the Zora Neale Hurstins, the Toni Morrisons, we were deep in there with these women because they were so powerful and they had a voice. And we were like, what? We can write? We can dance? We can sing? What? For our generation. So I love that. I love that. What do you want to say?
Well, this has been awesome. I mean, for me to know Miss Vivian, and to know that Brother Nate was a part of her family, from me hanging out with civil rights movements in Denver, Colorado, and to hear the different names and to have met them, I was like, oh, wow. That's an honor, I'm sure, to have that individual a part of your family, to have wisdom that's homegrown right there for you to get a lot of information. I love me some Toni Morrison. And I would like to say that it was a definite loss when we were told, of her loss. And, to read through different books, to have a heart, really literally get a blanket. You might want some popcorn, some hot cocoa, sit by a fireplace and read. But it was somebody who wrote words and had content that looked like us. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Now, Maya Angelou, what can we say? What can we say about Maya Angelou? And Tanisha, I'm just saying, you and Dr. Smiley might have to talk. We might need to cross off the list who's already been done and then tell the people, well, who are you going to do? Because that one's been done and there's many more to do. So go do your homework.
That is actually that's our approach. And we want to encourage, because so many people, we choose the ones that are most talked about. But the ideology is, bringing to the forefront people that we have not necessarily heard about, but they made such an impact in the world. And now we can go and look up Nathaniel Hawthorne Jones.
Yes. Yes. So this has been good.
Did you have something you want to say, Vivian?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Patria, girl. I was speaking yesterday about generations and how we are connected together. And as I look at my granddaughter, and she is a songbird, she is that all of the time singing. But you proved that you made me a believer, Patria. I see the courage and the presence of a Maya Angelou in you. I do. I see the presence of that in the things that you do. Now, we really, I don't know you that well, but I know you well enough to see that in you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. And again, I thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Roz and my beloved daughter in love. Again, happy birthday, y'all. Y'all know y'all threw me off today, don't you? It's okay. It's okay.
Gotta read the email.
That's why I love you. I tell you, I need you.
Give you all the information, I promise.
You belong to me. I need you. I need you for all that.
Well, thank you guys so much. Patria, you got any closing remarks?
Oh, absolutely. I have learned so much, especially about Uncle Nate. And even when she was talking about him being in his older years, being sharp and understanding his rights. Oftentimes, being younger in our younger generation, they don't understand the sacrifice that paved the way to vote, to open their mouths, and to understand the rights and the law that is at work for us. There was so much bloodshed for us to gain these privileges. There are so many losses that other families had to take for us to stand in this position and to understand who we are and to know where we came from. I originally was going to talk about Madam C.J. Rocker because what? All of us are doing all the hairstyles, all the things, but she was the first, right? And so all of this history, this was my first time hearing about Toni Morrison. So I'm going to have to go and do some of my research, which is why this platform is so important, because we know of some of the well talked about, like Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks, because we hear them in the books, and we know about Benjamin Franklin. We know about, all of these different people, the Martin Luther King Jr.'s and things of that nature. But there's so many more that's out there that gives us identity, that know that we're not just great basketball players, football players, but there's more to us. We're surgeons, we're astronauts, people who work for NASA, all of these things, and so much more. And so this was an amazing opportunity. So I thank you, Tanisha Kara. I thank you, Dr. Roz. I thank you for this platform to share the history where I come from with people who look like me in shades of melanin of all amazing cultures. I embrace it. I know who I am and where we came from and why we still rise. And even when things are thrown at us, meant to break us, meant to silence us, we continue to climb the ladder. We continue to persevere. Why? Not because, there's a saying that a lot of people are saying, we are not our ancestors. We speak of, no. Our ancestors were not weak. They were not fragile, but they understood when to speak up and when to persist and when to move. They were strategic. So it wasn't a weakness that they did not always open their mouth. It was strategy. And so I thank you all for allowing my voice to be shared on this platform.
Thank you so much. That's powerful. I love that. It absolutely was not weakness, and it was strategic, and it was wisdom to know when to speak and when to be silent, because there were a lot of silent marches, a lot of silent sit-ins where nothing was said, but your actions shifted the trajectory of the moment. And so grateful to have each and every one of you. Thank you for allowing me to celebrate my birthday in this manner as we kick off Black Hour of Power, bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge. For the remainder of this week, February 1st through the 7th, we will be hosting every morning at 9 a.m. We will be on the Dr. Smile channel. So please go to the Smile channel and every day this week and look for us at 9 a.m. Eastern. Next week, we will be on at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's February the 8th through the 14th. February the 15th through the 21st, we will be on at 3 p.m. and we will round out the Black History Month, February 22nd through the 28th at 6 p.m. daily. And just 1 hour of time for you to learn just a little bit more about Black Americans who have built this country. And so we thank you for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a great night. As we move on to our next guest, I would like to introduce a wonderful young woman who is an entrepreneur. She is a computer and technology guru. She is a supporter of leaders, and she is a woman, a young adult, a woman who is growing in her understanding and in her path, that she has an amazing future ahead of her, and she's already established herself as a person of integrity, a person who not knows what needs to be known for a situation, and also how to get information that may not be known. And so I want to introduce to you Miss Markia Goodman, who is the owner of MBG Technology. Welcome to the stage, Markia.
Hi. All right. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here today. I'm incredibly excited to join you. But even more, I'm excited to take this moment to pay tribute to those who paved the way for us to be who we are, and also to operate in the capacity we're able to operate in today. So when I think of a bold leader, someone who embodies authority, courage, and knowledge, the first person who comes to mind is someone who I've looked up to forever, is Miss Katherine Johnson. In my eyes, she has always been a queen, an absolute genius, a woman who walked into every room with quiet confidence, and set the bar high simply by being who she was. To many, Katherine Johnson is known for her groundbreaking contributions to NASA as a mathematician and aerospace technologist, specifically for her work around orbital mechanics calculations that were critical to the success of NASA's first crewed space flights. But to me, that was the epitome of a boss. Coming from a background rooted in mathematics and technology myself, I've always admired Katherine Johnson, not just for what she did, but how she did it. Her poise, her tenacity, her excellence, her depth of knowledge. She didn't ask for permission to be brilliant. She simply showed up prepared, confident, and undeniable. Because of examples like her, I've always been drawn to numbers, systems, and innovation. And because of her, I've been inspired to take complex and often intimidating concepts and transform them into meaningful insights through data, technology, and analytics. She showed me that intelligence paired with courage has the power to move industries and history forward. What stands out the most to me about Katherine Johnson is that she simply just is that by simply being herself, she set the tone. She proved that women don't need to justify their presence in spaces like mathematics, technology, or engineering. We belong there because of our skill, our capability, and our contribution. And even in her physical absence today, her legacy continues to inspire women to not only step into these spaces, but to lead in them and to pave the way for future generations. For me, my way of doing that is through my business, as she mentioned, MBG Technology, and through my work as a transformational coach in business and technology. With MBG Technology, I've developed a passion for helping individuals and organizations, especially those who may not consider themselves tech savvy, build their brands and technology processes in a way that reflects excellence. I believe deeply that we are all gifted, whether that gift is a skill, a calling, or a business idea. It is something we've been entrusted with, and it is our responsibility to steward those gifts with excellence. So at MBG Technology, we help our clients streamline those systems and processes so that technology doesn't become a burden or a stress point, but instead becomes a support system. This allows them to focus on what they do best: serving, creating, leading, and growing in their individual skills. So in many ways, I see a direct parallel to the role Katherine Johnson played at NASA. As a human computer that she was, she created the clarity and accuracy that allowed others to focus on their primary mission, which was successfully completing the crewed space flights at the time. In addition to running my business, I also serve also as a business and technology coach, as I mentioned before as well. I work with companies to build strong operational foundations by designing effective processes, implementing the right technology systems for them, and preparing teams to confidently operate within them. The goal is simple but powerful, to generate exponential productivity and profit without the overwhelm and the fear that technology can sometimes bring others. So when systems are built with intention and excellence, something incredible is bound to happen. Teams don't just follow the standard, they rise to it. A culture of expectation is set, and people don't just maintain what's been built, they take ownership, they innovate, and they grow it even further. So it becomes, not just a hobby or a responsibility, it becomes a passion. And I truly believe that the tone that Katherine Johnson set during her time at NASA can also be done through these skills as well. So her passion in mathematics and technology helped me and inspired me to know that my passions can also help somebody else as well. So as a human computer, her ability to mentally calculate incredibly complex equations showed that she was not afraid of big, audacious goals. She didn't shy away from responsibility, she leaned into it. And because she moved the needle forward in mathematics and technology, others were inspired and empowered to take it even further. Her work helped to lay the foundation and the groundwork for computer-generated calculations, advanced aerospace technology, and ultimately even the AI-driven systems that we see today. Because of people like Katherine Johnson, math and technology continue to evolve at an incredibly rapid pace. And what brings me the most joy as a person and as a mathematician and technologist is knowing that we are progressing forward and not backwards. We are building upon legacy and we're not erasing it. So these are just a few of the many reasons why Katherine Johnson will always be considered top tier in my eyes. She inspires me. Thinking of her challenges me, and she reminds me that representation, excellence, and courage matter, especially when you're blazing a trail that others will one day walk with greater ease because you walked it first. So I'm committed to continuing my part in this world by setting the tone, building with excellence, and then also creating opportunities for future generations, especially those who look like me and Miss Katherine Johnson, to dream boldly, to lead confidently, and to pursue their callings in mathematics, technology, and beyond. So that's why, I consider Katherine Johnson, again, top tier, and also a person that I will always look up to.
Thank you. I love it. This is powerful. This is really great information. Most people prior to Hidden Figures did not know who Katherine Johnson was. And so I appreciate that you knew who she was and that you had such a powerful influence from her and have become such a wonderful example of what she stood for and how she represented in life. So thank you for sharing and thank you for being here and being a part of the Black Hour of Power.
Thank you for having me.